Hey guys, what's up and welcome to the Laser Source podcast, the number one podcast if you like being spited. That's right, we're only 5 minutes late. All of your guesses in chat were way over.
8 minutes? Nope. 7 minutes? Nope.
No.
5 minutes.
5 minutes late.
5 minutes and 3 sodas.
The glorious podcast is brought to you by Coca-Cola. Just kidding, it's brought to you by Johnson Plastics Plus. It's the number one place online to go and get things that you need to burn with lasers. So if you're looking for cutting boards or cups to drink your little sodas out of, or anything else like Romark, plywood, leatherette, slate, you name it, Johnson Plastics Plus is a great place to go. We have a link down in the description if you want to go check out their store. We really appreciate them making the Laser Source podcast possible. And that's all I have to say about that. I am the number one daddy. The number two daddy is below me. His name is Kyle. What's up, Kyle? How you doing today? And the number three daddy is joining us today, Matt. Hello, Mr. Botiford.
Hello. What did you say about the second daddy? He was what you?
He's the best daddy. He's below me. He's the bottom daddy.
Oh, God.
Oh, dear.
Shout out to everybody who's here with us live today. Thanks for joining us. We always appreciate you guys stopping by, especially Vince Snowbucks. What's up, Vinny? Marcus, what's up? Lori's here. Lori's got some questions. Don't worry, Lori. We've got those starred for you. We'll swing back around. Michael from ET Laserworks is here. Andrew F. Sam, as always. Who is your laser daddy? And what does he do? Laura's here. What's up, Laura? Amasico, that's a classic, oldie but goodie. John Uftring, if I smash the like, the count goes down. You should smash it and make it go up. If it doesn't, we'll see them in court. Take it to the man.
We have over 50% of the people watching live right now have smashed the like button, which is pretty fair.
Word. We love that. Christina, Ken, Madly Crafty, all kinds of people here today. What's up, Mike C? And I'm just rolling through here. If I missed you, I'm sorry. Resin, what up?
Appreciate you, Boyce.
We need to have Resin on the show.
We should.
Boyce is here?
Yeah.
Oh, that is Boyce, huh?
That's Boyce and Diana.
I could see your frozen picture brain churning.
Oh, God damn
when
it.
you were reading it off.
Look at this. What a dumb looking face.
It's perfect.
If you agree, don't change anything. There you go. All right, nice.
I am the king of the dumb face.
Oh, yeah. Look, see, this is the first thing I said. Alex with the baby face today. It's weird. Like
You know what? I'm so comfortable. I was just telling the guys that when I don't have...
There it goes.
When I'm not irritated by my facial hair and head hair situation, that's really when I need to cut it, but I never cut it until it's like way too late. If you guys saw the video I just published, like that's way too late. That needed to be cut like 2 weeks beforehand. But, here we are.
Yeah. I, on the other hand, if I shave this, every time I've ever shaven my face, my students and the people here say no. Like, there's not a discussion about it. Like, I just get told no. Like,
no, Matt.
Yeah. So, apparently, I look like a potato, is what one kid told me. Did Alex...
Potato.
Yeah, he froze again.
Yeah, I see it. I'm going to try to switch to USB and see if that makes a difference.
What a dummy. All right, well, we have been already starring some of your comments and questions. So if you guys have questions, like always, please put them into the comment section, and we'll do our best to pick on them and talk about them and hopefully give you some good answers.
Indeed.
Gretch said, this reminds me I need to mow my lawn.
I did that today.
Miranda giving us the scoop. Alex was like, hey, you're cooking dinner and all 3 kids need a bath? Awesome. Sounds like it's time for me to cut my face hair in the middle of the kitchen while you're cooking. What?
That's true.
You are a manimal. You're not an animal.
Yeah, well, I had to do what I had to do.
Resin is laughing at the fact that I look like a potato. I think we all look like a potato without facial hair, so whatever.
Hey, oh, it's a giant thumb.
And What you got there, Spud? Let's see. Oh, yeah, potato. Right? Watch.
Hey,
potato.
look at this.
What?
This looks pretty good. It's I am now, well, you're full screen, but I
Yeah, I
am
don't know who
now
did that.
I did this while Alex fixes his shit.
Why?
I'm on USB-C now instead of HDMI.
Let people see the liveness of
Looks
our
just
show.
as good. Yeah, so anyway, we're here. Hi. There's 40 people tonight. I was not prepared for 40 people. This is totally a wing it episode, if you couldn't tell by the thumbnail.
We usually have tons of stuff prepped always every week. No, we didn't.
Yeah, thanks once again for tuning into this awful show. If you want us to bring back Emergency Stop, smash the like button. Do you know we still have Patreon subscribers for Emergency Stop? I feel bad for them. We should record something for them soon.
Oof.
I'm up for it.
Me too.
I need to do
Been
something.
a minute.
It's been a lot of minutes.
All right, so what have you been up to, Alex? You did your video that just came out. By the way,
all right,
new video. Tell us about it.
I did. Yeah, a new video came out. Before I do that, just shout out really quick to Vinny, who today went ahead on lasereverything.net and hooked us up with some fresh buying guide categories.
Yay.
Buying guides coming back. We're finally getting it done. We're getting some entries added here, so
after the show,
you can finally come in and start looking at some stuff and clicking some things.
I put that there.
That is a bad header image. That is not what that is supposed to be.
It's a beautiful header image. Look at that.
But anyway, so it's here. Some of them have reviews, some of them don't. Some of them don't even need them. It doesn't really matter. But one of the big things we were waiting on was for me to actually make the categories so that Vince could implement them into the menu system. And there they are. So you should start seeing this get populated again really, really soon. It is long overdue. We haven't had a buying guide for like 4 months, and that's not great.
Well, and I was on them too because of the LMA members who are always asking, "Hey, what can I get this and this and that?" And like, it's just one of those things that's nice to have because if you're looking for something and we're not around, it's just there for you. So for sure.
And new episode. It's a good one. It's fun. It's a fun time. I just butcher this job really bad. I don't know how clear it was, but the biggest mistake out of this entire episode is this right here. This was so bad. The parts fell through, but the laser kept cutting. I don't know how well you guys can see it, even if I like full screen it here, but we cut through the fallen through part on the second pass because the wood was so bowed that the piece fell so far through the material that it like butchered our pieces. And we were able to get it put back together. I mean, like, we did complete the project. That'll be the next episode where we actually build the thing. I've been dragging this little mini series along for so long. And it goes together fine. It doesn't look the best in places, but it's together. It certainly needs some black paint to cover up a lot of these burn marks, but
I just sanded.
You know,
good. No big deal.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen that one, to watch it. I fill the shop with smoke because I'm stupid and installed a fan backwards, and I have to fix it. It's a good time. So
I did that one time
I
did that one time with a blast gate. Like I left the blast gate open on one of them, and it's supposed to be like A is open, B is closed, and it was just like whoop. And I'm sitting over here, like way over on this side of the garage, and over there, I'm like, and I look over, I'm like, oh my god, the laser's on fire. Nope, the laser wasn't even on over there. It was just like,
when your shop fills with smoke, it really sneaks up on you.
Well,
like everything is normal, and then all of a sudden you're choking, and you're not sure why.
You know what I akin it to? It's kind of like when your glasses are filthy and you don't know it.
Yeah, it's exactly
like if you wear glasses and you're like, I'm getting a headache, I don't know why, and you take them off and you're like, how can I see through this? Yeah, it's like that kind of moment sometimes.
Yeah, because it just accumulates so slowly. Yeah, we all need to clean our glasses now. It accumulates so slowly that you don't notice, and then you're dying. So,
by the way, that's a great buying guide item. The little Zeiss, they're great for your glasses, and they're good for your laser goggles.
I saw them. I saw them today.
I know they're on there because I put those suckers on there. Kyle, I think, is the one who told me about them.
Yeah.
No, I heard about them from you.
Oh, okay, so yeah, like I know Walmart has them. Everybody like Amazon, and they're so cheap.
You got like the industrial pack from like Sam's Club.
Sam's Club, but they have the same pack on Amazon. I think that's what the link is for. But dude, it cleans the lenses of the laser really nicely. No BS, and then it also does these.
Resin says, I felt your pain so much, Alex. I felt so bad for you by the end. Such a mess.
Didn't.
One of those days where you just go back to bed and start the day over again. It's true. Sometimes you just need to just stop. Unfortunately, I don't get to spend every day in the studio, so I have to just push through. I mean, you can tell by the end of the episode, I'm just like, I guess we'll fucking do
I
this
went
now.
the other way though. Instead of feeling bad for you, I was literally looking at it going like, "Oh, idiot!" And it wasn't even you're the idiot. I was thinking of me when I've done shit like that.
It was
like that.
Been there. We just
No, but I'm saying it's like that.
Experience.
It's like when you watch someone do something and you know.
To be fair, and I don't know if you picked this up or not. You guys both saw it, right? You like actually watched the episode?
Yeah. All 8 minutes and 15
when you pull the fan out, like the fan core out, it does look like the air would be blowing out of the bleeded end. Yeah, like a propeller, and it's not. It's the opposite. The propeller end is the end that's sucking the air in. So
what's great is like I watched you look at the camera to be like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Because you went like, and you turned it on, you mashed the button, and you're like. Like I was just sitting there like I've done that. That's what I'm saying. Like idiot. Like see, like Resin said the same thing. If your friend isn't calling you an idiot, are they really even your friend? No.
The other thing too is like that never would have been a problem if I hadn't taken it apart, because in the injection molded plastic, it's actually there's like arrows molded into the plastic that show you which way the fan is supposed to be pointing. Like in the plastic, but I've taken the cores out and cleaned them so many times because they cake up with like laser gook that the arrows don't mean anything anymore. But if you're installing them for the first time, you can just look. I mean, most of them that I've seen, both the Terra Bloom fans and the AC Infinity fans had molded arrows on them.
I'm pretty sure the Vivo Sun and the iPower one does too. Yeah. They all have like a flow indicator typically.
Yeah.
At least,
I mean, the nice thing about the Vivo Sun is that it doesn't come apart. So that's just like,
turn it around. Yeah.
Yep.
Resin said, I felt your pain. I felt so bad by the end. I just read this.
Where are you?
Well, I'm saying like the reason I was going back to this is because the go to bed and start the day over again. That's what I was going to bring up is there's so many times I've come out here, like after you've been you for the day and then you've been dad for the day. And then you finally get to be like laser you. And then I come out here and I've messed up so many things where I'm just like because I forget to mash one button because I put something, I didn't line it up just right, which should have taken, it's like a no brainer. And it's stuff like that.
You forgot to mash a button?
Yeah, like literally.
Was it the like button?
Oh, I see what you did there. The mash. Okay, so anyways, but yeah, like, and that's why when I watched it, I kept saying "you idiot" because I'm watching it going like, no, don't do it, and you're just like, because that's exactly what I do. Like this, yeah. I made like this. This is a great example. Look how freaking clean this is, right? Like that's a really nice looking plaque, right? Tyson Hicks, if he would have gotten this, would have loved it. And then I like lasered it. I put it in perfect. I did everything. And then because it was like 1:30 in the morning, I was like, time to put this on there.
Classic.
And I used the dual tight or whatever. And that stuff is like crazy strong. And I tried to get one off of the plaque and it literally bent the shit of it. So it's like, so now this is my sample that when people come to the shop, I'm like, I make these, but correctly.
Yeah,
so
make the right side up.
Little stuff like that you just are like, come on, man, come on. And you're like throwing money into a fire and you're like, I'm loving life.
Justin says, just peeking in on my first show. Welcome. It's not.
It is what it is.
We're glad you're here. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
We make no warranty.
Oh, hey, Wild Willow showed up. What's up, Wild Willow?
Yo.
Yeah, said, been a while. Your bad air reminded me of my daily life.
Where's Boyce these days? Sort of miss his smiling face. Boyce is in chat right now. Boyce is married and
living his best life.
He has a more successful business than any of the three of us. He never really stopped. So when he joined us originally, Boyce was kind of like this startup project, and he was just starting the basic building blocks of his business. And when he left us, he had like a 6-figure business, and he was going to shows all the time, and he was throwing like sign parties, and he had all these different customers and clients. Boyce is a very much so a golden success boy. And it was really fun to have him on the show while we did. Boyce knows he's welcome back anytime. He's a super busy guy, very social.
Always, I don't think I haven't known Boyce without 3 jobs. Like every time I've ever, like he's always had at least 3.
Yeah, Boyce keeps himself really busy, but he's doing super good. And we touch base every now and then, and he obviously knows where we are. So Boyce is doing good. Everybody congratulate Boyce in chat for making it.
His post and his wife's post are always super cute, and also they make really cool stuff. But like they're always like, I love my life with my best friend, and I'm just like, it's beautiful, good stuff.
Hey, Edward's here. Hey guys, greetings from Orlando, Florida.
Hey, you're down the road from me, man.
Hey-o.
All right,
so I've been trying to finish the buying guide, and we published an episode where I fuck everything up. So that's my update.
Oh yeah, Kyle.
You guys have updates before we?
God, I forgot we were doing updates. I thought we were just talking.
Have you done anything, Kyle?
Yes and no. I've been dealing with some fatigue problems, but one thing I am working on, you can kind of see a lot of mess back here. I've been working a lot with the Rotary, and I've been getting ready to do some Rotary videos. I'm also getting ready to move this bench back out of the way and get back on some gantry, which I'm excited for. So that'll be fun. That's about it.
Yep. And Kyle and I have been working together at nighttime to learn chuck rotary, because I've always done CO2 gantry like roller rotary, and I've never really messed with chuck. And Kyle and I have been basically
I've been breaking that.
Yeah, he's like way better at the design stuff than me, and he was like, hey, you want to see how I do this thing? And I'm like, yes. And it's just like it's his nerf potato.
It just takes time and practice.
Yes. Yep. I have no time, and I don't want to do anything.
Which is why I'm breaking you.
But the good news is
Laura hopes you feel better, man.
It's what it is. Just gotta push through.
So
Kyle's fine.
I'm going to show you guys this. Kyle can talk about it. So
Kyle's not fine when he doesn't show up.
Yeah.
If Kyle's here, he's good.
It's my first tumbler that I ever did a full wrap on, because I've never, ever had anybody request one. So I just was like, let me play with it. And Kyle and I were playing with it, and it's pretty cool. And we used the Talon chuck rotary back here. Of course, everything's a mess back there. But what's really cool is we started with this design, and it's just like a flannel design. And it's a modified flannel design a little bit. But then the other cool thing was we got this one. So I have a customer who owns a bar, and don't give me crap about the logo. I know it doesn't look good. I know. I was just practicing on this, and Kyle was like, I don't think that's the right placement. I was like, I don't care. We're just practicing. But what's really cool is this guy. Look at that. Isn't that neat? All the way top to bottom. Boop, 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 boop. And this one was 8 minutes and 30 seconds, right, Kyle? 8:33.
8:39. No, that one was that one was like just shy of 9 minutes, I think.
Yeah, we're like basically 8.5 to 9 minutes is what we'll say. So if you're someone who's looking to do that kind of stuff, the Talon was freaking sweet, dude. Like literally just popped it onto the plate, popped this sucker on there, bada bing, bada boom. And with Kyle's help, by the way, that's what made it good. And then my plan is I'm gonna actually last week, Kyle did the what's the herringbone? I want to make a herringbone cup, because what's really cool about these is the texture. When you pick them up, it's really clean, really nice. So,
I I told Kyle he should do a houndstooth pattern. I thought that would be
I did.
cool.
It's up.
Good one.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I did throw a chat up and poll, or a poll up in chat. Excuse me. Chat up and poll. Sorry, I'm just distracted. The poll question is: are JDS tumblers' ribs fucking ugly? So go ahead and vote in that. I'd really like to see you guys' responses.
It might be an inadvertent or intentional flaw in that answer of yes or yes. Brutal.
Excuse me.
I hate them so much. I was telling Matt, like,
By the way, can I just stop for a second and point out the fact that He's Gone Plaid is like a great reference. So I'm just saying.
Yeah,
sorry.
It is.
He's Gone Plaid.
I was telling Matt, like, when you do real full wraps on those JDS ones, like,
he's like, you should buy some JP Plus ones where they don't look like a pile of human pieces.
I did say that, but I was also saying to keep the pattern above the ribs.
The ribs.
So here's
because it looks stupid on the ribs. They look dumb on the
ribs. That would
ribs.
be like wearing a turtleneck collar that only goes to here.
Well, then maybe don't buy fucking stupid looking cups.
Dude, so these are the leftovers off of what customers buy. When they buy like 50 or 60 of them and I have to order a case to save money and get my return on investment better, I keep these around for
you
one.
You can even like skip the ribs for a patch of color, but do a stripe around the base of the cup.
Well, if you look right here, it's pretty nice.
Yeah.
I think that's good. I mean, let me just show you, right? I think that's nice.
The votes are in. 93% say yes, JDS ribs are fucking ugly. 7% say yes, JDS ribs are fucking ugly.
I feel like there's no flaw in that poll whatsoever.
There is not.
No, logically solid.
Yeah.
All right. John said, Kyle, bought one of your designs on Etsy. Going to use it to mark the sides of a bamboo coaster holder. Ooh, nice. That's a good idea.
Yeah, we haven't I didn't feel like we plugged it last week, but Kyle is an Etsy shop now.
Oh, yeah.
It's really good. And you should go buy stuff from him. He is selling... He's gotten like a new hobby where essentially Kyle just sits and he's creating seamless patterns. So if you want seamless, infinitely expandable patterns, Kyle has perfect ones. And you know Kyle, Mr. Technical over here, they're technically perfect seamless patterns. Kyle's got a bunch of them up in the shop now.
I showed Alex how yours was different than the one that we had looked at.
Yeah.
And I was like, Kyle looked at it and was like, why would it, like, he was just going ballistic on this file. He was like, why would anyone have this thing this way and where it doesn't match up and yada, yada, yada. And
it was dumb. It was poorly designed file.
But at the same time, like the 99% of people who look at the cup wouldn't notice it. But Kyle was like, enhance.
Dude,
enhance.
I saw it especially on
I saw it too.
I don't know if I necessarily noticed it in the file, but when I saw the final cup, I was like, that's awful.
Yeah.
It really bothered me.
Whatever. But the thing is, this is where the technical thing comes in. Tile makes it. Kyle makes it where it basically always wraps together like wrapping paper should, and it just coalesces at a parallel line. And then the other thing that was nice about it too is for planning purposes and for SVG style, if you got a 30-ounce cup, you just make it the height that you need, and if you got 40, you make it the height, so nothing changes.
Madly loves most JDS products, but can't with the tumblers. Amazon is my go-to. JDS has good tumbler. They had didn't they do like, are they still Polar Camel?
Mm-hmm.
So Polar Camel just changed their design. The old Polar Camels were good.
Yeah, so they got sued by Yeti. A bunch of different companies did. Then for some reason, I don't know, but then I think what happened is they spent the money on the molds. Molds are very expensive. And then to get things that are sealed up right and that are dishwasher safe and all that stuff, it's not cheap. So, like, I mean, whatever. I like them just fine, personally.
We unboxed a bunch from Johnson Plastics Plus that seemed pretty good, and they're fairly priced. One of my other go-tos is Arctic, just because you can buy them by the, like, the box, so you can get like 32 of them in a go, and they're fairly inexpensive too.
Real quick, I know that you don't respect my opinion on lasering stuff, but you respect Anthony's, right?
I do. Yeah.
I think it looks better engraved. It makes the ribs less pronounced. You're welcome.
All right. You're right. One person in chat out of 30
who had a good point. That's all right. You don't have to be the mass. The masses are
wasn't Anthony like, oh, I'd love to come on more often, guys? And I was like, four is a great number of people. You can come on anytime. He actually
loves his family and wife, so like then there's us.
You know.
My wife is like, I love you, and I'm like, shh, close the door.
He is a laser daddy. Also, apparently, Keith is a laser daddy. What's up?
All right, let's start answering questions. That's our update. That's like
it's not a closed club, guys. You want to be a laser. If Resin wants to be a laser daddy, mommy. She can be a laser daddy. Yeah. Laura can be a laser daddy.
Anthony is just brown nosing. Vince, nobody brown noses me. Not a single
person. So before I forget, I added a link in the description that auto applies I think it's a 15% discount to my Etsy shop if you click on it.
Word. We love that.
So if you guys are looking at buying, use that to save money.
2 quick things, because I saw Laura ask it earlier, but we were yapping away. She said, which laser was it? That was my 60-watt CO2 Galvo, and it knocked it out. That was with a 200 lens, I think. 200. And then Laura said, I used my grip, which is the Pyburn, with my UV the other day. It worked wonderfully. With practice, I had success. Laura makes amazing cups. She sent one to my wife as like a thank you for sharing your husband with us. Why are we
looking at this spot, or is it just darker here?
I don't know. It's like all white trashy. So
it looks like the spots I get from when I don't shave for a while. Hair pisses off.
That's what like Johnny Depp said. He goes, it always grows in white trashy on one of my favorite shows, and I've never forgotten it. It's like, all right, here we go. Lori Champagne says, I have an Epilogue Fusion M2. It's the CO2 and fiber gantry with a 3-inch lens. I have a job for 650 glass blobs with logos. 650, wow. I know I can do it on my Epilogue, but I'm looking for an excuse to buy a laser. Can I get the same plus or minus 7-inch depth of field from a diode galvo laser or an IR laser? The glass blobs are handmade and are therefore inconsistent. Ooh, I know my Epilogue can do it, but I will have to sandblast. Okay. The fact that they're hand done and there's a lot of inconsistency to me would mean UV galvo.
Yeah, the right tool is a UV galvo, but you're gonna have to refocus every time you change.
Or you might have to do like I wonder if they're glass blobs. Like I think I know what they're talking about. If it's one of those things, that's where you could have like a bed of rice. Like you literally put like a little pan with a bed of rice, or like Michael uses putty, right? Then he used putty. They can be manipulated, or like Play-Doh. And then you could get it just right. But even then, if it's inconsistent anywhere else at all.
I was gonna say the other problem is now you're doing one-offs basically instead of doing a bunch.
You charge for it though.
Regardless of focus. Headphones just turned off because they felt like it. Can you turn back on, please?
They were glass blobs.
Thank you. Regardless of focus, forget the IR. You just say that. I would say forget the diode, but then Anthony would get mad at me. Anthony does nice work with the diode on glass. It's definitely going to take some practice, and I don't know if there's going to be any depth of field benefits from that. Probably not. Just because it's so low power compared to what you're going to see out of something like the Epilogue. So I'd be more focused on how to refocus efficiently and quickly rather than trying to increase your depth of field. Because that's going to be a struggle.
Excuse me. Yep.
If I was going to do it with the tools I had available to me, I would still do it with the UV. And I would try and find a way to
mitigate it,
do it efficiently and mitigate it. So like there's those tools that people 3D print where you have like a spring platform, and people who are doing business cards, they just pull the done one out and it pushes the next card up, and there's a little lip that catches on the card. So it's always at optimal focus. Maybe you could do something like that where it's like a coin holder, like, those spring-loaded coin holders. Maybe modify one of those to hold one, so it's always at the same height for the marking surface.
Or just charge them twice your usual rate. and sit there and
focus. Yeah.
Well, that's what I was saying. To me, like a thing. I'm telling you, like a bed of rice or whatever. Like that's where you can kind of pilot, manipulate it, and kind of do that.
I think the Fusion's a good choice for this job.
Yeah.
You're not going to be filling your bed with parts. That's just the way that it is, and rate accordingly. But the Fusion does really, really nice work on class. So I'm not, particularly against using it for this case. You're just going to have to be a little creative about how you're rigging it up.
Yep. All right, let's keep moving. I think you clicked this one. Somebody clicked this one.
I read it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Who is your laser daddy, and what does he do? Well, I guess it's Alex, and
my dad's problem is what he doesn't do.
Who started all these? Is either Boyce said, "What up, peeps? I didn't have a dad growing up, so this is just what I always needed."
Mew.
Yeah,
we got you.
We love you, son. Okay, Hector Torres says, "I wanted to throw this on the table. If you're kind to answer, never happened to anyone that I have a lapse of no ideas coming and need to reinvent. I'm on that stage." I think what Hector's saying is like, has anyone else ever like thrown it out there? Has anybody ever had like a time where you are struggling to make new products and
just having some writer's block?
Yeah, that's what these are. That's literally what these are. Like Kyle and I were like, Kyle was playing with the files and I had blanks and I was like, let's go, let's do it. And the first time I dragged Kyle out, I was like, are you at your computer? It's like 1:30 in the morning. He's like, nope. And I was like, go down to your computer. Let's do this. And he's like, So like we both blearily eyed did it. And then yesterday was the exact opposite. I did not want to come out to the garage because I was like, I'm on the couch.
And then I laid the smack down.
Oh my God, give me a break. He literally was like, come on, I'm going to sleep. Hurry up.
I think there's like this ever-present stress to feel like every single thing that you do has to generate income. And when you work that way, this stops being fun and it will kill your creativity on coming up with new things. So, I mean, like the last time I really got writer's block really bad, Kyle and I produced Lasered, which was just a weekend of us setting shit on fire with lasers. And it was extremely refreshing, So I think like doing fun stuff like that every once in a while. I mean, we have laser beams that can burn things in our possession that we get to use, I do that every once in a while. I think if you do that, you'll find some fun new ways to do things that you maybe haven't in the past, and that might lead to some new creative ideas. And even if it doesn't, I think you'll feel refreshed and ready to get back to the drawing board afterwards. Try doing something fun. Be like, I know wood isn't for fiber lasers, but I wonder if I could sit here and get a good mark. Like try to enjoy doing something like that, even if there isn't a clearly defined goal at the other end.
And the other thing, so I went to the arts and crafts store with my kids, and I agree. Oh my God. I just saw Anthony said, I can be a laser stepdaddy, and now he's here. What's up, stepdaddy? So to continue on with this question, though, I just went to the store. Oh, right here. I actually was watching one of the old episodes looking for an answer for one of the LMA members, because that's my job most of the day. Is helping LMA people, and they had said, hey, I'm looking for settings for canvas and black acrylic. And I went back through and I found Jimmy's videos, and I was like, oh, Jimmy, I miss you, buddy. But I got the settings, and then I was like, dude, that would actually be really cool to do. And so I came back home, and for my wife's principal, which I doubt he's watching, so I think it's okay to talk about it. They're the Eagles is their logo. And so I'm going to basically, I came home, I did a Mid-Journey file, and it's just going to be like, we're going to make something for his office. Like me and Evelyn are going to make something cool. So, look around, find something cool and try something new. I also, while we were there, I bought scratch paper, which for Halloween this year, I got the fiber laser to make scratch paper and cut it out too. So pretty cool. Nice. So just try fun stuff.
You ever hit a dead end, Anthony, on creative ideas for the shop?
Yeah. I've kind of
gassed,
gone through some like this, like kind of reimaginings, I guess, or trying to like find a good niche that's gonna
Mhm.
like stay.
The next thing.
Yeah, it's not even really like the next thing. It's just like the thing that's probably most in demand where I'm at that will stick around and
Stability.
just be the stability.
Yep.
So I think one of the major steps in that's going to be I just need to finish my application for the FFL because I've gotten a lot of interest in that, and I think that's going to be one of the things that's going to help me out. So
A couple of
Laura
things.
wants to know what scratch paper with the fiber is.
Oh, there you go. Nice, perfect.
Scratch.
When you scratch it with this, it's the thing kids do in art class when the teacher runs out of stuff to have the kids do.
It's literally colored, like rainbow colored paper with like a black lacquer over it that's meant to be scratched off like a lotto ticket.
Yep.
But lasers can remove that black lacquer really well.
What's
so
funny
you can
is
do some really cool
I actually
stuff.
found the I was just playing with it and I literally bought it thinking like that would be cool if I could laser engrave that. And so then I played with it the other day and I actually found the settings for it on the fiber, so I'll do it while we're sitting here. But I thought this was really cool to go back to. I don't want to jump off of this question, but John had a good point. John said, I handled depth of field. So this is going back to Lori's question. I handled depth of field / focus on slate coasters by measuring their thickness and then sorting them into like 1 millimeter thickness groups. That's a really smart way. It's going to take time, but it's going to save you so much more.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, that sounds really tedious, but also probably super effective.
And that's one of those things where you just tell the people, like, hey, it's going to be an extra couple of days because especially on handmade, individualized stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, like, and I don't want to get like super into this again, but the bottom line, Lori, is that you need to charge more because this is going to cost more. You're not going to do this for your regular bait.
And by the way, to tie back to another legitimate question was, does a laser dad pay child support? That's what you need to tell the person who you are getting the job to. Be like, listen, I got a laser daddy. They need child support.
Laser dads are infamously and maybe notoriously famous for not having to pay child support. So
that's fair enough. All right.
Bummer.
All right. So Hector, we got him. Max says everyone wants to know. Oh, I don't even know what that is. Smoke signals about something.
I think it was because of the episode.
You keep hunting for a question.
Where I filled the office full of smoke.
Oh, smoke signals.
That went up yesterday.
I'm so tired. I fell asleep for like an hour and a half on the couch. So my brain's what? Yeah. So what happened?
I installed a fan backwards. So it was pumping smoke back into the office. We're fine. Everybody's fine.
There you go.
It was actually recorded like 3 weeks ago. So
no brain damage to Alex. He's fine.
I don't have any cells left. They're all gone.
That's exactly. All right. So Mike C said, any recommendations on a gantry around the size of the Ranger, but with an RF tube and servos?
What do you want servos for?
I mean, if that's all you want, your only option would be the bolt.
Or like is there a Mira 5 red line?
I thought they started at the 7.
I think they're 7 months out from being released. Like you could order one, but you're not going to get it for like 7 months, I think was the delay.
Yeah, they had small batches that came out recently, and then it's a 6 month after that.
The wait.
I will say
to get through their pre-orders, I think it's 7 months.
I think both of those options are good, depending on your budget. Look into both of those.
I mean, you could even look at like an epilogue at that point. If you want RF and servos, you really want servos for some reason, you're in the bottom epilogue price range already.
What's that?
They have a really little one that I forget. If Michael Mullins would be shouting about it because he has one, and I don't remember what it's called off the top of my head. But
see, the other thing too, though, if you're going to do that, why not just get a CO2 Galvo? Is my question, because if you're just doing fast engraving, that CO2 Galvo hums, dude. Whew. So, like, if you're not cutting anything, and I mean, the RF can cut, but it's not. Maybe like 1/8 would be the most I'd mess with.
The DC power is way more efficient at cutting with the glass tube than you're going to get from the RF tube.
yeah. So just another thought.
I think use case is really important. I think we need more context.
If you're just doing cutting boards and stuff, dude, my CO2 Galvo knocks out. I did an 8-inch engrave in like 2 minutes, and it was beautiful. And like, it would have taken easily 10 to 12 minutes on my CO2 gantry. So, all right. MakerFlow. John said, so MakerFlow is a sponsor for the Laser Maker Con. Any experience with their laser engravable items? I'm going to say yes. I have used MakerFlow's glass decanters, like decanter sets, and they were really nice. They came shipped quickly. We don't have an affiliate, I don't think, with them, do we? No. But that's the only thing I've ever got from
MakerFlow. First time that I've heard MakerFlow's name ever. Could you share? What is it?
Yeah, I mean, so we can look them up, but they're just another company that basically makes they import and resell for makers, and I'm guessing it's makerflow.com, but
it is a source for materials for
blanks. Yeah.
crafters.
But I someone a long time ago, I can't remember who it was, but they when I got the UV, they were like, hey, these turned out like this, and I bought 5 of them just to see, and they all engraved really nice. Oh yeah, here we go. Let's see, present, share screen. There we go. So right there. They're having like some big sale right now. Buy 2 cases, get 2 free. Tumblers as low as $2. So I've never really looked at their tumblers. Like, this was what I got, the whiskey decanters for the UV, and they were like $14 because I had a friend of mine's dad was retiring, and then it was like a handful of people. Like, when I told them, hey, I'm gonna get this for him, they ended up wanting more. So I think I bought like a case of them, was like 6, I think, in a case or something. Or
add them to the list. We can get signed up over there.
Yeah. So anyways, just some random stuff like the memory boxes. So if you're someone who's looking for like some more random stuff, like they've got the basics and they've got some random neat stuff too. So, but from what I saw with their glass and stuff, I was happy.
Nice.
I've been seeing ads for them on Facebook here and there. And
probably because you did the Laser Maker Con, they probably jumped into your cycle or whatever.
They bought your data, bro.
Oh, I've been breached.
Let's see. When's your next? Oh, there you go. John again. John said, "Beam it up, LaserWorks. What's up, dude? When is the next late night laser testing stream gonna be?"
Bro, those streams are fire. I've been posting them on the LMA. They've been really popular.
Appreciate.
They're fun to watch.
Yeah, I got to get another one going here soon. It's been too long.
You did titanium. You did
the superconductor coin.
Superconductor, and then what's the next thing if you were thinking about it? What's your
titanium on the 250 lens that I just got on the Prime Day, thanks to Kyle dropping that little hint to me. And yeah, I'm thinking maybe that, or doing some rotary stuff, because I've got a big order for a wedding that just came up, and it seems the way a lot of people do rotaries isn't the way I do rotaries, so I thought maybe just kind of sharing that. So
do it.
Well, and the cool thing is you made your money with a diode and a rotary. Like he would show me stuff, and I'm just like, holy shit, that's really good, man. Like, wow. So just saying.
I mean, and sometimes I do actually return to the diode too, even though I have the UV and the fiber. UV I've never really done cups with, but I've got, the 2 fibers, and the 50 watt like killed a black cup the other day, just perfect. First shot, never done one on it before. And it just did a beautiful job. But getting with different colors and stuff, it gets a little bit tricky. And sometimes I'll just go to the diode because I have good settings for it, and it doesn't really have the juice to burn the metal like a fiber will. So, I mean, sometimes it's kind of, instead of throwing away a $35 cup, just go to the diode, use the settings I know, and it'll take 12 minutes, but at least, it's not $35 out of my pocket. So
one of my dream world projects that I'm never ever going to have time for, but really want to do, is like to get good settings for every color of tumbler. It doesn't even matter like the brand or whatever, but just like all the same brand, do every single color and then like calculate what like the ratio like differential is between the colors and try to apply that somewhere else to see if it holds up. You know what I mean? Whether it's like a diode or a UV or a fiber or whatever, just to see if it scales along and like are the different colors really reflecting a consistent amount of the beam across like laser powers.
Right now I'm looking at your face and I'm just picturing right here a piece of tape wrapped around your glasses. Like,
bro,
I was thinking about like looking at the diameter of the cup and then thinking.
Look at that. That's my super glue job.
Nice.
Right there. The kid's totally wrecked my glasses. So that hinge doesn't close anymore. It's just
so never mind. Instead of
using do that to you.
He's like actually the tensile strength of tape is not enough, so I decided to use.
I'm good.
Anyways, you know what? If you did have some tape from our man Anthony, you'd be set. You wouldn't have to use super glue. But anyways, it's okay.
BeamItUpLaserTape.com.
Thank you.
I set it up for you. Spike. Okay. All right, a couple more questions that we've got so far. Laura's questions are coming up. Laura, we love you. Thank you for being patient because she's awesome. Cuban said, hey, Alex, what editing software do you use?
Well, when I was on Windows, I was using Adobe Premiere Pro. And now that my main system at home is Linux, I'm using Kdenlive, which is great.
There you go.
It's probably my favorite piece of Linux software. There's a lot of Linux software that's broken and not very good, and Kdenlive is not one of them.
If you are going to buy Adobe, though, Bronson, there's student and teachers get discounts, so make sure you get the student discount. So, just saying.
I think you asked that question like 3 times in chat last week, too.
Yeah, last week, what were we doing last week where we never really slowed down? I feel like we never slowed down last week.
Yeah. We were cooking with fire last week.
Mm-hmm.
We were cooking with fire?
Yeah.
Moving, dude. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Okay, I was like, wait. I thought we were really
getting down to brass tacks.
Last week was literally Laser Maker Con. What are you talking about?
Oh, yeah. Okay, dude, I feel like the past 2 weeks have been like a month and a half.
I know.
All right. Laura's questions. First of all, she said, Kyle, I've been thinking of you and sending happy thoughts your way for quick recovery. So
thank you, Laura.
Super kind. We love you, buddy. And then she said, okay, on the 5-watt UV, should I be using a 110 or my 150 lens?
Yes. It depends on what you're doing. If you're talking about like your average, jack of all trades lens, I like my 150. I'd even go to like a 175. That's kind of like where the efficiency of a 5-watt I find really falls off quickly, is if you go beyond that. So like, for example, if you throw a 300 into your 5-watt, you're not going to get into glass. It just isn't happening. There's not enough energy behind the beam to really ablate glass at that size. So like 175 is the happy medium for that. 150 is better. 110 is even better because you get more power density at a smaller dot, so you can get more detail. But with a UV, you're not like, it's immeasurable, the detail difference between those lenses. You're already
literally we tried to measure it.
Yeah.
You're literally at the smallest degree, you're literally above 1,000 DPI basically on the biggest lens you have. So,
I will say, to add to what Kyle's saying, I agree. Like, all that stuff is accurate. But depending on the substrate that you're using, like he said, glass, you have a fall off. But for like the leatherette, like Alex used, it would be a great one for a larger, like I'd say even up to a 200. Like I've got the 100 and the 200. And I think on the leatherette and even on some woods, like softer woods, you could use the 200. And again, power drop off for sure if you're doing like a full 8-inch engrave, but you could still, depending on the situation, and that's where like we were saying, so when, like, to go back to Hector's question of like, when do you run into these issues, how do you respond, that's when you're like, you know what, I'm just going to play with some stuff and see what happens. And you could find out that you could make some really amazing photos at like 7.5 inches, 8 inches, and put them in an 8-inch frames, like a 7.5 inch, you know. And with that 200, you could do some amazing stuff on like balsa or whatever substrate that would work. I mean, pine would probably be pretty good too. But anywho, so that's my thought there.
My rule of thumb in general is if I'm trying to ablate something, I use the smallest lens that my project will fit in. And then because you get the most power density. If you're trying to mark something and you don't want to ablate it, like the leatherette, right?
The scratch paper that I forgot about.
I use the largest lens that I can while still getting enough power density to mark it. So the other way. And that's kind of, I figure out what that lens is and then write it down and remember it or save a setting or whatever I have to do. But, especially with ablation, like if your little project you're doing fits in the 100 millimeter lens, use the 100 millimeter lens. It's going to go faster. If it doesn't fit in the 100 millimeter lens and you need the 150 or the 175 in order to get everything into the space that you need to do, then use that. Use the smallest one you can because you're going to get the best power density out of it. If you're trying to do like the leatherette, use the biggest one you have because it's going to give you the largest dot size and the lowest power density, so you're less likely to have a fire. And if you're not getting enough power density to market, like let's say it's just too weak on the 300, then step down until you hit the spot where you are getting a mark and use that lens. So it's just the opposite rule. So whether you're marking or engraving, if you're engraving, use the smallest lens that you can. And if you're marking, use the biggest one that you can. That's an oversimplification, but I think it's easier to remember. And that's usually how my workflow when I'm trying to figure out what lens I want to use goes until I kind of lock in what I want.
There you go.
Just my 2 cents.
Let's see. So we got some more here. Hopefully that helped you out, Laura. Sam says, how often have you noticed that suppliers change out the material composition of their product blanks? Have you ever ordered a part from a supplier for a while, worked great, and then just randomly
engraves weirdly?
Yeah, is weird.
In my experience, unless it's something specifically for laser, that almost never happens because all of the bull crap that we engrave that are blanks are like stuff that is being manufactured constantly for retail stores anyway. Like how often is a bamboo like wooden cooking spoon going to change?
So
or like a slate coaster.
But then let's talk about this though. Like the powder coating thickness has changed before, and like one of the things that I agree 100% with natural products like that. It's like, what are they doing, right? But on this kind of stuff, what I've seen happen before is where basically, if you guys don't know, these are like put through a conveyor process and they're just spun and sprayed, right? And there have been times where like the sprayer overlapped and you'd have like a double thickness on one part, and you could literally like spin the cup and see where it almost like overlapped and it was like a parallel line where it was like, and if you happen to engrave on that, you would have like this really nice clean silver and then trash underneath it. And you didn't matter what you did, and you already took it off the laser thinking like, oh, it looks good. And so there went that. So
this is part of the reason why I spend extra money on tumblers like Arctic tumblers, because they're consumer facing products and the QA is better in general. So I almost never have like different powder coating issues with things like the Arctics or even Yetis. I'll throw Yeti out there, even though I hate them. They rarely have that issue. But when you start getting into like the JDS, JP Plus stuff, those inconsistent thicknesses of the powder coats start coming up way more often.
Yeah. But I will say both of those companies that you just mentioned, their customer service is really, really great. And like when I had an issue, there was basically just a batch that I got that was rough. They just sent me a whole new box. They said take pictures, and I showed them. And they said, nope, keep them. They're fine. Like
that's fine as long as you give yourself time to do that.
Right. Yeah. Which, by the way, we talked about in our video for Laser Maker Con. But anyways, yeah. So
Kyle is not frozen.
I would say, so to answer that question, I would agree with Alex 100% that on the natural products, not really, but on like the stuff that's treated or the stuff that's because that's another thing.
Have you noticed the leatherette ever change? Because I feel like that's been really consistent for me too.
So steel leatherette, and I know Matt's experienced it. I've only gotten a small swatch of it, and even across that small swatch, it was brutal.
Yeah, I've had some where so with leatherette, and it's literally just the sheet. Like the sheet's different. Like I got a box, and this is from multiple companies, by the way. We're using leatherette here for like the catch-all, but I've had it from JP Plus, JDS. I've gotten it from a couple other like large resellers, basically. And I've seen where even out of the same box, everything worked great. Like teal, for example. Teal is notorious on fiber to be rough anyways, but it zapped them great in this box, and then I cracked open the second box. I'm like, oh my God, I'm killing this project. And then I put on the first one, and it was like 80% good, and then the next one was like 70%, and it's just the whole box. So it's just like this lot was trash. So, but now
never a cut and dry answer.
Yeah.
It depends.
Anywho.
5-minute warning. Well, 4-minute warning.
Here we go. There's only one that I've got starred left. So Brett said, what would you consider the level entry laser for commercial would be? Would it have to be a CO2? So basically like diode, CO2, gantry, like what do you think is where you start to get into commercial level machines?
It depends on what you deem commercial and what you're doing.
Yeah, what is your
if all your engraving is cork, I mean, what's the volume you're working on doing?
Yeah, maybe you have a cork empire, and it was built with Wild Willow was here earlier. Yeah. Wild Willow only had a diode laser, and now she makes butt tons of money.
Well, Anthony started with the diode laser. I like they got another one.
Diode laser. Yeah.
All right.
So use them too. I just used mine 2 days ago.
Signs and small layered stuff. What's the main advantage of CO2 over diode? And the good news is chat's already helping us out to answer them. Besides material that can be used being more on CO2.
So you have a lot of mixed answers on that. So the reason why diode is actually a little more flexible is you'll find that you can modify or add it into other G-code systems like CNC, for example. So you can actually get enormous work areas on a diode at a very reasonable cost with very low overhead and transition it back to a CNC when you're done with it to kind of get more out of a machine you may already have. And especially since they're only usually like 2020 extruded or even 1515 extruded for the rails, you can usually make them enormous if you want to. They're usually just rails and a belt.
Yep.
And then you're done. Whereas with CO2, you typically have an enclosure, or even if you don't have an enclosure, there are big rails if you're talking about enormous machines that are 40/40 or bigger in some cases, depending on how big of a machine you're working with, to keep it rigid. And it depends on what you're doing.
I have a hard answer on this one. Like I have an answer. Okay. Like my answer is a glass tube CO2 gantry is going to be the most useful tool in your entire shop because it can cut, it can engrave, it can do all the things that you just said that you do right there, and it's going to make production faster. I can't say no matter which one you buy, but almost no matter which one you buy, it's going to be a step up in speed and in power. And also for the bang for the buck, I feel like those are the ones that are the most mass produced, so you can have some flexibility and you can compete for pricing. So like, by the way, anytime you go to any laser seller, just ask them for what's the best deal they can do, and you'd be shocked at what they'll throw in for stuff. Like if you're just buying directly from China, just say like, hey, I want this and I want this. How much would it cost? And I think I've helped people save a few $1,000 on like just saying, what's the best you can give me? And most of the time the sellers are just like this, and you're like, whoa. So anyways, that would be my suggestion. I have a Boss laser. Alex has an Aeon laser. Kyle got the Blue Poo back there. Yep. And then Thunder, they've got some good stuff. Anthony, what are you rocking?
I've got the 80 watt 600/900 Omtech.
I think I don't want to breeze over diode lasers. We just took that. We just took that we create, and we cut through fucking inch thick wood on that live stream, and it was really slow, but it did it. And if your primary business is not going to revolve around cutting, you're going to be able to create much better, much more detailed products. Maybe you're doing like a photo engraving company. Maybe you're only going to engrave big photos of people's families to hang on the wall. Like, I would be going for the diode every single time over the CO2. The CO2 has a big fat Sharpie dot that it's flinging all over the place.
Again,
and the diode is precise.
The question was for an industrial, like, so when I think of industrial, I don't think pretty pictures.
I disagree. I think no, they didn't say industrial. It's like commercial.
Okay. Well, but whatever. He said he makes.
We're getting off topic here. So
I think it depends on what you're trying to make.
Coasters, signs, and small layered stuff.
If my commercial intention is to start a photo engraving business, I would never pick a CO2 laser.
You're having an argument by yourself over here. You're making a point, and it's valid.
I'm not. Anthony's nodding.
It's true.
I think that diodes are very legit, especially the newer diodes. It's not the same diodes as 4 years ago when I first bought mine, where it was a cantilever system, and if I went faster than 50 millimeters a second, then it would tip over and dance all over the place. Like, I was just running my Niji 200 millimeters a second the other day, and it did great, and it knocked out a sign quickly. And 200 millimeters a second is about what I run my CO2 at. So,
by the way, I will say for you two, what you're saying is right for him, because I didn't realize he's in Australia and everything down there. Getting a tank sent to you, like a CO2 gantry tank, is gonna be mad expensive. That's
big money.
So if you're going for commercial in that regard and you're in Australia, I'll give it to you. Diodes, they have come a long way.
They're not toys.
But I would go with what Kyle said though. There's some really cool ones that you can find price wise that it's a little more DIY, but like very capable, because
it doesn't even need to be DIY. Look at something like the Niji Max 3 comes out of the box.
What about Gil? What does Gil make? He's got the
those are pretty cool. I still have yet to check one out. I've had Gil and then like 3 other like Z-Banks reps reach out to me and ask me if I want one, and I've said yes to all of them, and it still hasn't come. It's the not the Alfaro, the oh my god, Gil.
I know, right?
Called
is it Algo?
Algo.
Yeah, the Algo. And one of the cool things about the
Gil is
Algo,
awesome, by the way.
They have like an alpha, and then they have like a delta, and the delta is sick because it has an onboard OS on the controller.
Oh yeah,
and it can not. So most of these lasers, like the D1 Pro, you can send a job to it and then reprint that job over and over again, but you can't switch between jobs. You can't pick jobs like a 3D printer where you load in a 3D shape off of like an SD card. The Delta from Algo Laser is one of the first ones I've ever seen with an actual legitimate operating system and like file system on it, where you can like load a bunch of shit on and then leave everything at home and just take it and go do stuff with just the machine, which is really cool. It's not the most powerful laser on the market, and it's certainly not the biggest laser on the market, but it looks very well rounded. I would really enjoy playing with one.
And so this is the reason I said commercial, like for CO2 lasers. So this is a 2 foot 24 by 36 inch, where you're talking about commercial, where you're going to pay for your house and you're going to pay for your stuff. My machine, like when you get one that's 2 foot by 3 foot, this is what I was talking about. I was able to do these kind of things. And you can, like what Kyle loves, which is talking about being able to not walk away, but to basically produce more quickly. Like that's where, if we're talking about commercial, I had a guy who wanted 500 of those covers, radiator covers cut. And that machine paid for itself with the one order. And I don't think you could do that with a diode. So that's where when I think commercial,
is that acrylic
coming from? Yeah, that's like 3/16 acrylic.
Okay, yeah. The acrylic is going to have an issue with because it's a diode, but
right,
I mean,
so
you can buy a
Niji
3 Max for like $650 right now with a 20-watt module.
It's like 100. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was say it's $130 or something like that for an extension kit. So you've got 1,000 by 800 millimeter diode laser that's 20 watts for less than $800. So I mean, you can have like a big like production powerhouse, but obviously the acrylic's going to be an issue.
Now, and that's what I'm saying. So go ahead.
I still don't like the semantics of this argument. I don't think that commercial necessarily is.
Yeah, I already acquiesced.
High volume.
I already acquiesced to that. But for me,
I think commercial and high volume are separate things.
In my mind, that's what I'm saying. To me, when someone asks me what's the tool that made you sustainable for as a company, it's just the CO2 gantry. That's it. So, but that's because I am not a creative person. I like to get someone to say, I want 100 of these. Like these things, I will pay someone to make this file all day because I will crank out 100 of these and then I'll crank out 20 at a time and put them in a store all day. But this, nope. So the people like Wild Willow was just saying that she still uses hers for her hat patches. So there's a 100%. I agree. You can be commercial, but it's just a different kind of commercial in my brain. So when he asked that, my first thought was like cutting, because cutting just makes so much money and it's so fast. So anyways, all right. So the answer is yes to all of them. Let's see. All right.
You all fell for it. No one gets any answers on this show.
Except for, I tried to give you a hard and fast answer, and Alex was like,
no,
wait,
denied.
There's more. Okay.
Denial.
We're already
nothing.
An hour and 6 in. Let's see. I did a full YouTube series on engraving canvas.
Yeah, put negative
P2. I think that's everybody. Like that was all the questions.
Laura put a $9.99 super sticker in.
Oh wait, I didn't even see it because we were arguing. Yay, Laura! Here we go.
It's a thank you.
Yay, Laura!
It says thanks.
Let's see. And by the way, I think John had a good point. He was saying we're arguing about scaling business. Like I don't know. I guess that's what I'm thinking of too, is like mass production is my brain. And I think that's just it. So I'll double check. All right. I think that's everything. That's all the questions that we have. Unless anybody else had one and we missed it, you could type it now. Maybe we can grab it, but that's about it.
Well, good turnout tonight, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks
good
for coming
questions
on the show.
too. Those are good questions. Good discussions.
Fun.
Yeah. And we have 39 likes and 41 people watching live, which means if you're one of the 2 people who haven't hit like yet, you're the only 2 people in the room.
Rough. I'd hate to be one of those 2 people.
Yeah. Or you could fix that by hitting the like button now.
What's up, Anthony? Are you going to be here next week?
Yeah, man, for sure.
You want to come on when we start?
Question.
I would love to. Yeah.
You have to remind if you don't hassle me about it, you're just not going to be here because I'm not going to send you the link.
I'll bug you.
The only reason these 2 show up is because they don't need me to send them a link. If they needed me to send them a link, they'd be here 30 minutes late every day. Because I would never do it. So
you would just be like, why haven't you guys started?
Yeah, for real.
All right, we got a question. Resin said, my diode head stutters when engraving. I made sure the belts were tight and the head is on tight and the rails are clean and greased. Any idea what might be causing it still?
Your belts might be too tight.
I was just going to say that. Yeah.
Mine are pretty loose. Yeah.
Belts
if it's like a guitar string, it could cause too much tension. And I mean, the bearings and stuff on that carriage that moves back and forth may not be up for that kind of pressure. So
dude, even you don't want to, like with the D1 Pro, every time I pick that up, which comes tension from the factory and you don't mess with it, I'm like, this doesn't seem right, but it is, because it's like they flop almost, and that's good. That's where they need to be. Almost. They're not like flippity floppy all over the place. It's not like crazy inflatable balloon man floppy, but it's like getting there. You know what I mean? So if you like, if like Anthony's saying, if they're like guitar strings, dude, like you got to tone it back a little bit.
Yeah,
for sure.
Another thing could be the pulleys at the ends. So there are
going to be like algo laser.
No, the pulleys at the end. So basically, you have a belt that rides along 2 pulleys on the outsides, and they loop back and connect typically by like the diode head. So, and one of those pulleys is typically on a motor, and the other one's like a deadhead pulley. there are pin bearings in those.
Mm-hmm.
And if they were either poorly set or they weren't greased, that could also be part of the problem. So while there's tension on the belt, so don't loosen it yet, roll it and see if you can feel it jostling around in there. Because I've actually had diodes. I've had people come to me with diode problems, and we've worked through every possible component, and then we find out that one of the pulleys is missing like half the pin bearings, and it's just like it's like imagine sand in between your joints. That's what it like feels like, and it just ends up being weird. And like, because there's tension on the belt, the pins don't ride all the way around, so it's riding essentially on raw metal on the inside of the pulley. If that's the case, I doubt that's the case, but if it's something to check.
And there's, I think, an elliptical nut on the third wheel. Typically there's like 2 on top, 1 on the bottom, and I think usually the third one has like an elliptical nut to set like tension of the wheels on the rail. If you have that style too, so that might be something to check, because if it's sliding and it's not tight, it could chatter a little bit, I'd imagine. So
yeah, and John basically said those 2 things, plus make sure everything is square to the rails. And he had to adjust his slide bearings like you guys were talking about to make sure that it was gripping properly. So good call, John. And then Madly, the last question here was any tips for engraving glass on a CO2 gantry? And Laura already mentioned Blazer orange tape, which it's a good call. But
dude, I've always really had super good luck with dish soap. That's the old like wives' tale dish soap trick. Freaking works, dude. Works super good. Costs virtually nothing.
Can you tell them what that is, though?
It's dish soap. You put it on the glass.
But do you coat the whole thing, or do you just like what do you do?
Video about it.
You smear it where you're engraving.
You smear it. Yeah. I haven't tried wet newspaper. Some people put like wet newspaper on it.
It's like mustard on a sandwich.
I've never tried glass on my CO2 yet.
I haven't either. Except like I bought the Blaze tape thinking like, oh, I'm going to do it because I got this stuff. And then no one ever wanted it. And I was like, oh, okay, well.
I like almost never do glass on anything other than my UV ever these days.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't now, but if I was going to, the dish soap works super well. It just keeps the glass cool. So it manages the size of the fractures. So you'll get a smaller fracture pattern rather than a larger fracture pattern, which means more perceived detail. It's still just a bunch of cracks in the glass. They're not actually ablating anything, but it looks nicer because it's a finer shatter pattern. So I think that works pretty good too. But we have to wrap it up. I need to go put my daughter to bed. It is getting late. Anthony will be back next week.
I'll be here.
You just committed you to it.
All right.
As for my other 2 daddies, I love you guys. Thanks for your time as usual. And shout out to chat. I love you guys. I'm glad that you were able to hang out with us live tonight. Always a good time. Shout out to Johnson Plastics Plus. Your powder coating may not always be even, but your customer service is on par.
Are they our laser blank daddies?
They are kind of like the laser blank daddies, yeah.
Laser blank step.
Please don't drop us.
Whenever they send me something for free in the mail, I'm like, Daddy, Daddy. I'm gonna leave you guys with that. He's like, I quit. I'm going back to teaching. Got him. I don't know, guys. Go check out the new buying guide. Vince worked really hard on getting those categories set up for us. Most of them are still empty, so there's not a lot to look at yet, but Matt will be working on that shortly.
I'm literally doing that right now.
Go watch my new episode if you haven't. Go watch me fill my shop up with smoke. It's pretty funny. You can laugh at me and point. It's a good time. And go buy some laser tape from beamituplasertape.com and go check out the description for Kyle's Etsy shop where he sells infinitely repeatable patterns.
And use the link to save money.
Buy the Houndstooth.
I want you guys to save money if you're gonna go through purchasing it. So
Houndstooth is dope. Everybody loves houndstooth. And
What's up?
that's all I've got, guys. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Laser Source Podcast. See you in the next one. I don't want to wait.